My name is Mahesh Raghavan. I'm a musician, and my choice of instrument is what I'm holding in my hand. Any guesses what this is? Yeah, it's an iPad. I'm just going to play a bit. Just cool. So that's what I do for a living. I'm a musician who plays the iPad. And I'm sure a lot of you have questions, how, what, why, and so on. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey and why I do what I do. So I'm a South Indian kid brought up in a traditional South Indian family. And the only extracurricular activity in my family was music. So when I was 3 or 4 years old, I started learning Indian classical music, the South Indian Carnatic classical music. How many of you listen to classical music here? Show of hands? Oh, great, that's more than I expected. Okay, great. So I was brought up in that traditional Carnatic music. That's what I learned for a long time. And when I was about 9 or 10, I also got this keyboard in my house. And I also started playing piano and Western keyboards. So my parents were really encouraging. So they were like, okay, you're really good at music. Why don't you just go for it? So by the time I was 18, I completed my 8 grades for music theory and keyboards from the Trinity College of Music. And I had also been learning Indian classical for 15 years. Now, at that point, I actually had a third passion other than keyboard and Indian classical. The other passion was actually technology. So I was very passionate about, say, anything to do with gadgets, video games. Back then, the Nokia 3310. Anyone old enough to remember that phone? So I used to love those gadgets. And I was like, okay, how do I bring all of these passions and bring them together? And back then, I did not have an answer because what I'm holding in my hand wasn't invented yet. So, but then around 4 years ago when I was in college, the iPad was invented and I was really excited. Like, I just bought it. Then I did what I always wanted to. I started playing Candy Crush and Fruit Ninja. So after 4 years of Fruit Ninja practice, I went to university. I did my master's in music tech. And back then, I wanted to research how Indian music and technology can interact. So I was looking on whatever apps were available. And there was, I had this need that I wanted to do something for Indian music with technology. So as a keyboardist, you know how a piano works, right? You have black keys, you have white keys. So for example, one music note is this. And the other music note next to it is this. And now there are a lot of tones in between, yeah? And you can't access those notes on a piano, okay? So that's one thing you really need. In Indian music, we have a concept called the gamaka, for which you need to access those microtones in between those, the consecutive notes. And that's something I always wanted to do on a piano, like play like this, but Indian music, yeah? Now I discovered this app called GeoShred. And so now, if you have Are you all able to see my iPad? Yeah? Okay. So back then, there was an earlier version of this app called GeoSynth, but this is the new version. It's called GeoShred. Just give me a moment. So there are a lot of boxes on the screen, right? So each of these boxes is a different music note, okay? Now, what's not possible on the piano, I can do with this. I can go from one note and slide to any note that I want. At the first time I heard this, my mind was blown. I was like, okay, something is here. There can be something that can be done with this, but I just have to kind of see what. Okay, so I started developing a technique to play Indian music on the iPad. So whatever I wanted to do, I had that spark in my head. Okay, I can do this. So if I can do that, I can also do that, right? And then after say months of practice and developing a technique, I was happy. Okay, like this is something that I can actually make music with. Now, here's me playing an iPad, convincing everyone that this can be a musical instrument. So now, what do I do? Okay, so this is a new instrument. There's nobody to teach me how to play. So I had to pick up techniques from, say, other parallel instruments, such as the guitar, the violin, all those fretless instruments. I had to see how people have played there and try and sort a technique out for myself. Plus, this is a sound that really isn't there in Indian music, okay? Now, because of that, I also had this thing in my head. So how do I make this sound accessible to play Indian music, but not just for listeners of Indian classical music, but for everybody? Yeah, still make it sound Indian, but accessible to all. So since then, I started a YouTube channel, and today that YouTube channel has around 500K subs. But through that YouTube channel, what I have done is I've tried to make Indian classical music relatable to anyone. Yeah, so I have covers of Harry Potter in Indian classical style and so on and so forth. And plus, I also develop pieces for the iPad, which are Indian classical in nature, and but presented in a new age fashion. So I'm going to be playing a couple of pieces for you guys. Hope you enjoy it. And cool, the first piece that I'm going to play, it's part of the series that I'm doing nowadays. It's called Funky Mondays. This one was released last month. It's in the Raga Mand. Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so the next piece is actually very special to me. It was composed by my lovely wife, Nandini Shankar, and I. She's actually here. Please give her a round of applause. So this was the first piece both of us worked on, and it's called the Kapi dance. She's one of the most talented violinists in the world, and I'm happy that, we both live together. And this piece is called Kapi dance. Hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you very much.